If you've been online recently, it's almost inevitable that you've been exposed to AI. In fact, if you go on Google Trends and you search up AI, you'll see a massive spike in searching. This is because AI has become one of the most prominent tools in the 21st century, and most people don't know how it works. When you type a message, it undergoes something called tokenization. Tokenization is the process of segmenting words. For example, if you had some words the cat sat, it would transform into the, comma, cat, comma, sat. You can think of it as a set of words. Then it is transformed into a vector. And AI actually isn't magic like most people think. It's very complex math. Then it can perform a dictionary lookup to find words and generate the response that you would see in something like ChatGPT or Gemini. AI works by using processes called neural networks. You can imagine them as neurons in the human brain, but in AI. Starting, as we mentioned earlier, the tokenization is the first step of the process. Then after it performs a vectorization. And this process is complicated, but it happens in an embedded matrix of certain values. So it can look up certain rows. Next, we'll have something known as an activation function. For example, there's a function called softmax, which will always result in a value that is below 1. This makes sure the probabilities add up to 1. In this case, probabilities are called logits. For example, if you typed in the next word would probably be a noun, as opposed to something like and or pizza, because it's not in the food-related context either. Then it's passed through something called a fine layer. This happens in almost every step. Affine layers are layers that are essentially arranged in slope-intercept form, but since we use the activation function, they are technically non-linear. Then, how the AI learns. It uses something known as backpropagation, which involves partial derivatives, which change for multiple variables. Then it changes the values until it gets the correct response. It also uses something known as a loss function. For example, if the data was trained on said pasta, but it decides it's pizza, the loss function would be quite high. Now the AI has successfully completed its vectorization and transforming into probabilities. However, if the AI just sent out random probabilities for every word in the dictionary, that wouldn't be a good business model. So they use a dictionary lookup to find words. And the closest alignment will be the best possible choice, so it adds. For a quick example, king minus male plus girl is most likely to be green because king minus male is royalty, and royalty can be applied to a lot of things.